another video explaining the differences between this guy and this guy. To start off, this uses a completely different architecture, I forgot exactly which, than this guy. This runs an x86 Intel CPU. And this runs something custom CPU and stuff. And also, I got something a little bit wrong. I said there were, like, no PCIe lanes at all, pretty much, for this thing. But from what I heard from some people on some corner of the internet, this Ethernet port apparently carries some sort of PCIe protocol, but it's not going to be very usable because it's an Ethernet port and not a PCIe port. And also, these specific like Chromebooks can be anywhere from like $50 to maybe $250 for some of the more expensive crappy ones. Something like this could be maybe up to $1,000 to well over $10K depending on what you're buying. But these are pretty cheap, and I've seen them go for like $80 pretty much. So now this guy that I modified a little bit ago uses 32 gigs of DDR4. This model of Pi that I bought uses 4 gigs of something. I don't know what type of RAM it is. And this guy has dedicated PoE pins, which, if you don't know, PoE is just power over Ethernet. It's where you plug in your Ethernet cable and you send power through it to power things. Wow. And now this old thing, I don't see a single PoE pin for it anywhere. And just to clarify, this is the Ethernet port. There's no PoE pins. I also got another thing wrong. It's the BIOS isn't really here, but from what I know, it's also kind of contained in the bootloader. Like the bootloader is the BIOS, kind of how phones work in a way. Essentially, so far, this is kind of just like a Chromebook, but way better in many different ways. Also a little worse than some PCs and maybe even some Chromebooks, but still pretty good. And also, depending on if you're paying attention or not, you may or may not have noticed that this thing is tiny. Look, this is my main rig, right? The one with 32 gigs, the RX 6600, and the i7 11700. 11700F, I got that wrong. And look at this. This is, by the way, this is a whole computer pretty much in the size of a credit card. My RAM sticks are bigger than this thing. Like, look at this. This is some SD RAM from the 2000s. And this is a 3770. This thing's bigger than, like, the CPU, RAM, and Wi-Fi combined. Look at this. It's so tiny.